Coach, just maybe a few comments from you to get started of what you saw from last Saturday's game on film and what you're looking forward to with the first road trip to UTEP.
You know, certainly disappointed after the last ball game, and I was anxious to watch the film Sunday morning. And after watching it, I actually felt a little bit better from the standpoint that, you know, we weren't as far off on some of the things as I thought, whether it's on offense, defense, or special teams. So everything's correctable. We got to do a good job this week of correcting the mistakes in a hurry with a little shorter week, and then also getting ready for a completely different style of play, particularly what they do on offense on Friday night. So when we lose a day of practice, so will they, and then we'll have a travel day. We'll take the bus down on Thursday and get ready to play Friday night.
After looking at the tape, how would you assess the overall passing performance?
Oh, we didn't execute well at all in a passing game. You know, there was a couple things we hit, and there was a couple things that we know fundamentally we can be better at, and that was kind of the point of emphasis in last night's practice and last night's meeting is we got to make sure we remember our fundamentals and how that's going to carry you through in the execution. You know, we didn't do a lot of different schematic stuff, so it wasn't a mental confusion part. It was just more fundamental things we have to fix.
How do you critique Brandon's throwing mechanics?
Well, that was part of the fundamental things. When he's fundamentally doing the right thing on whatever the drop calls for, he's pretty good because he's got arm strength, and his decision making was pretty good. Missed a few things, as maybe all quarterbacks do at times, but fundamentally we got to get back to that. And sometimes when you're such a competitive guy like he is and Khalil is, you just want to make a play and you forget about the fundamental part of it at times. So we're working on that.
Is it kind of come and go for him? Because, I mean, he seemed to get into that zone in that early third quarter drive where he hit like 6 of 7, and then all of a sudden it just comes apart again. Is that kind of part, I guess, of trying to find the consistency in it? Sure,
everybody wants to be consistent, but it's not just it. The quarterback gets featured and highlighted because of that position he plays, and that's, as they know, that is the position that gets the most scrutinized, and that's part of the deal. So they have to handle that part of it. But there's other positions too that at times fundamentally are not doing everything that they want to, but they're trying, and he's trying, and he's conscientious enough to keep working on it and get better at it.
Defensively, after you looked at the tape, how impressed were you with the amount of improvement they showed from week 1 to week 2?
Yeah, I thought we played a lot more aggressive mentally. I thought we were real tentative in the first game, and I know I mentioned that, but in this game we were a lot more aggressive. We missed a few tackles, but overall it was a lot better performance against some pretty talented guys. And we were good in the red zone. Our guys keep competing, and I still think we can get better. And I expect that, particularly with some of the youth, as they get more and more experience, they'll get more and more confident, and we'll continue to get better on that side of the ball as well.
How do you feel about the overall quarterback situation at this point?
I still feel good. We got talented guys. I mean, if everybody's just pointing, the reason that we lost the game was because of something in a quarterback play. There was a lot of reasons, and it always starts with coach, the head coach on down. But I have high expectations for the quarterbacks that we have, but I always have high expectations for the quarterback in this system. There's a lot on his plate. There's a lot he has to do, and they know that, or they wouldn't come here to play quarterback. But we have talent there that can play at a high level, and they have, and that's what we expect going forward.
What was the most frustrating thing for you about that third quarter drive where you got it to the 7 and then couldn't get it in?
That we got it to the 7, couldn't get in. Yeah, we had a fumble, I think, on a turnover on the first drive of the second half when we were moving the ball well, and so those are disappointing, and that was probably a fundamental thing as well. So, like I said, we got to fix those things, and I like our guys from an attitude standpoint that they know that too. They're, as I said, they're conscientious, and they can see on film, and we got to get better in a hurry. There's a lot of football left, but we want to start playing better right now.
This will be the first time you guys have played UTEP on the road in a regular season game in 40 years in El Paso. I guess, can you take me through the thought process of playing in El Paso, and what do you hope you guys can take away?
What happened 40? I mean, it used to play all the time, right? I think it used to be in the same conference, and it's a border border schools. So I think it's pretty neat. I know we have a lot of Arizona alums in the area, and hopefully they'll come out Friday night. Move the game to Friday night, I thought was a chance to get on national TV and have something a little bit different. So, it's a little bit of a ride, but our guys will probably sleep the whole way down on the bus. But, they should be excited. I think their team would be excited too, could play on national TV.
What's the thought process behind busing out there and then flying back?
Saves a little money.
Question, have you ever taken an RV to a sporting event? And if not, have you ever heard from anyone who hasn't and their experience with it, being that this is a 5-hour trip to El Paso?
An RV, I haven't, but that sounds like a fun trip. If you got somebody that will drive the whole time, you can just lay back here and watch TV or play cards or something. I think it's a pretty good trip. I've not driven to El Paso since I've been here, but I think it's a lot of people have. And as I said, I know we got a lot of alum there, and hopefully our fans will jump in a car or an RV if they have one and head on down to El Paso.
Rich, you mentioned obviously playing on Friday night national TV. I don't know if you saw the National Federation of High Schools, the resolution they sent out in early August about Friday night should be for high schools and not college and professional teams, and I didn't know if you had any thoughts on it.
Yeah, as a proud member of the AFCA Football Coach Association, we've talked about that quite a bit, and we have coaches, a lot of high school coaches in that organization, so we have to be sensitive to that. Certainly, I think Friday nights are mostly for high school football, but this is also, you have to look at it from a program standpoint. It's an opportunity to be on national TV, and you got to take every opportunity you can. When you're in my position. So I understand it, but high schools are playing on TV too. They're playing some Thursday nights, some Saturday nights, and everybody's moving around. So TV's dictating a lot of stuff. We got a Friday the next week too, which, you feel even more, I guess, toward that end on Friday night at home because of the high school games here. But we've been wanting to have a, Friday night home game or Thursday night home game here. For several years, and now we got two. We got two, one on the road and one at home.
Talk about your running game and just maybe the use of JJ and how he's done to this.
Yeah, JJ had to play a lot more than we couldn't really split it because Nick was out, and so he probably played a few more plays than we normally would with Nick being healthy. And then JJ could do it. I mean, he's in good enough shape, and we got Zach Green. But going forward, whether Nick plays or not, we've got to get more rotation in there to keep JJ healthy because he's such a dynamic guy and he goes full speed all the time.
Can you elaborate on how Nick got hurt? Was that a practice thing? Was that
I don't need to talk about it. He got hurt, just tweaked his ankle a little bit. Thought he could maybe go, but he couldn't. So hopefully he'll be better for this week. We'll see.
Coach, is it a good thing to go on the road at this point in the season, especially considering how the crowd reacted a couple times the other night? Just kind of get away from home.
Like reacted like
the boos for every now and then.
Oh, was it? Well, they buy their ticket. You want your home fans to cheer for you, not against you, certainly. But I think our fans have been, the Zona Zoo's been terrific. Our fans for 5.5 or 5 years plus have been terrific. So I'd rather play all games at home if I could. But I don't think they'll let us do that.
What's Tilford's situation in that rotation you talked about?
Yeah, he's going to keep working him. I mean, every week goes by as another week that he learns, and he's on some special teams now. He's going to be, I think, as he gets more and more experience every week, that we'll get more confident to put him in there. But he's a young guy still learning, but he's a talented young guy.
Is that his kind of roadblock or whatever the word is, or him not moving it forward? Or
Well, not so much. Yeah, he's really learned. I mean, he's a very conscientious guy, and he got here early, so he's, as far as a freshman learned, he's just got a couple pretty really good ones in front of him right now. And but I love Nathan. He's going to be an outstanding player for us.
Well, you talked about the fundamentals earlier with the quarterbacks. Is it footwork mainly? Or is there a specific thing?
There's a lot. I mean, there's the timing. I think sometimes when you get in a shotgun, people don't think there's the same timing as you would if you were under center. 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drops and all that. But we have the same defined timing in a shotgun as we do as some old traditional West Coast, whatever you want to call it, systems have under center. And so that's part of it, and the footwork's part of it, and also where your hips are pointed, are your knees bent, are your eyes in the right place, and so there's a lot of things. You know, there's a lot to playing quarterback. I think for a lot of the people out there that say, well, you know, it's just bad throw or whatever. I mean, if you're not coached or played that position extensively, sometimes you may not see exactly or know exactly what's going on with it. But that's an easy position to scrutinize, and rightfully so, because that's the, you know, no question, it's the most important position in football because you have such an impact on the game.
What's the biggest difference between the two? I asked this of Alsadek Saturday night, just running or passing or whatever, maybe thought process to that position.
What's the difference between?
I'm sorry, between Dawkins and Tate, in terms of how they run that offense. Or
Well, Brandon's been in the system a couple years longer, so he's more comfortable with everything we're doing in our offense. Khalil's still learning a little bit, but he's learned a lot since compared to this time last year. But you know, I don't, you know, there's not before anybody asks about a controversy and all that. I mean that's always kind of nice water cooler talk, but you know, we try to get everybody ready to play, and then whoever I feel gives us the best chance to win or succeed on that particular drive or series or half or game, that's what I go with. So it's not really controversial. It's just, you know, have a feel for, you know, getting guys in the game. And I've got two guys in him and Brandon has got a little bit of experience, Brandon a lot more, and I got two freshmen that are keep progressing and pushing them as well.
For Brandon, when it comes to those fundamentals then, if there was, you know, top focus for him for this week leading up to UTEP, what would it be?
Just like everybody else, get better in every fundamental aspect. Not like I said, it's not all bad. I mean, a lot of good stuff, and so you could point out a lot of good things and some things that maybe not as good. So the challenge for him and everybody else is to get better every week. And again, I feel really confident that he has the mindset, and as do all of our guys, to take that to heart. I'd rather teach off a win than a loss, but either way, you got to teach it.
What was the best thing for you about that period where he got hot? What were you seeing there?
Well, it's just the execution. That's what's expected. We see it in practice. We see it all the time. I mean, it's not just, again, one guy. I mean, there's a lot of sometimes people won't see it. Maybe it's a breakdown in another area that didn't allow the play to have success. But we can execute or got to execute a whole lot better. And again, they have something to do with it. They're pretty good on defense. Had some dudes that will be playing for I think a while on Sundays, but we can execute a lot better, and we got to.
What's the situation going forward at long snapper?
Well, Nick got hurt, and so that puts him out. Now we had a host of guys snapping, long snapping. Donald did a nice job, Donald Ryder, and he can zip it back there. But the short snaps were an issue coming in, and you know, we started off with a couple guys, but I think Nate Eldridge did a really nice job when he got in there. So we're pretty confident in Nate.
How much did you feel that your kick return team on that one kick maybe just wasn't ready because Haversack had put something?
Well, you know, I don't think it was a cause of not being ready. It was just we had 3 or 4 missed assignments, and then we lost contain, and it was just bad. It should never happen. You know, we're working really hard on, because Lucas will kick most of them out, but if he doesn't, I don't want to be holding my breath. So that's one unit we're going to work really hard on this week.
Coach, Tristan Cooper's it's a homecoming for him. He was born and raised in El Paso. Have you had a chance to communicate with him, or is he expressing excitement?
I think a lot of that, yeah, I think a couple of guys have already been talked to him about. I don't know how many tickets he's trying to get off his teammates so everybody could come to the game. But I'm sure he's excited. But again, it's a business trip for us, so it's not like he's going to have a home and time to go home and do a family barbecue or anything like that. I mean, he's going down and play a game.
What is the biggest adjustment you have to make preparation-wise with one fewer day?
Well, you lose a practice, and so, I mean, for us, you lose a Tuesday or Wednesday practice or a combination thereof, so you have to get ready, a little more of a sense of urgency, I think, from a player standpoint. They still have a day off, but you have today off, so they have to have a sense of urgency to get prepared for another opponent, and especially in this week with a team that runs an entirely different type of scheme than we're used to seeing offensively. So we've got some challenges for our guys mentally to get ready.
What is that scheme of theirs? What's different about
Well, they're more of a power team. You know, they're a little bit, I guess, for lack of a better word, traditional now is spread, but you know, from an old school standpoint where they got a big, huge offensive line, big tight ends, big fullbacks, and if you don't stop it, they'll just keep running it down there, control the clock a little bit. So it's a whole different challenge for our guys defensively than what we've seen in the last, really, not just the last 2 weeks, but the last 6 weeks. So we've got to learn, all that stuff this week.
What's kind of allowed Bryce Wallman to put himself in the position where he was able to?
Well, first off, he's got great football intelligence and great intelligence, period. He learned in a hurry. I mean, he wasn't an early enrollee, so he got here. He was in pretty good shape. When Trevor went down, I mean, he was thrust. Jamie Nunley was out for quite a bit, so Bryce was taking a lot of reps the last several weeks anyway. And then when Trevor went down, he got thrust in that role. And, there's a lot of things he can play better at, but I thought for a young freshman coming in there, he competed pretty well and did a nice job. He's going to be a really good player for us.
I could be wrong, but wasn't one of your last broadcasting assignments with CBS Sports at UTEP?
Yeah. Somebody asked me a little bit earlier, when was the last time I was at El Paso, and I think that's when I was I forget the game they were doing it, going against, but yeah, I was called a game down there. So I've been down there, I think I maybe went there twice, but I think the last time, maybe the last game I did in my brief venue on the dark side where you guys are at, was down in El Paso. It's a neat place, really was. I thought the stadium was pretty neat too.
What's neat about it?
It's a really neat, as a college town. People support the university. I thought the stadium and the facilities that I saw were pretty nice, and so the environment, it was a neat football environment.
So obviously the defense played a lot better, especially in the second half, and basically pushed the shutout. Are you concerned, though, about the lack of consistent pass rush?
No, I think we got some sub-pressure. We didn't get there as much, and he got rid of the ball. Because a lot of the passes that they threw, and he completed a high percentage of them. A lot of them were quick bubble screens where you're not going to get there anyway. Hopefully you can get your hands up. But he threw a lot of quick bubble screens and a lot of short stuff that it's hard for anybody to get to. But we need the biggest concern, we need to play more guys. Didn't play as many guys defensively as we needed to, and there was a lot of freshmen that played a lot of snaps. So going forward, we got to make sure we get more guys ready to play, because it's going to be a long season, and guys are going to get nicked out, and we got to get some experience.
A couple of instances on that bubble screen where you had your corners really attack the blocker to get to the receiver. Is that something you guys teach?
We should. There are other times we should trigger it even faster. Again, as going forward, we'll recognize things a little bit quicker and trigger even faster on those things.
Is Flanagan Fowles just in the right place at the right time, or does he have a knack for knowing where the ball's going to be?
Well, he's one of those guys that really understands what we're doing, and he's got great range. He's a very, very good athlete. He's got great range, and he'll keep getting better too. I love the guy. I think I probably told you all before. He's everything that you'd want in a student athlete in your program, on and off the field. And everything is it's important to him, so he really studies and wants to be a really, really good player. So really proud of him. And his best football's still out in front of him, I think.
Said Saturday night that maybe he shouldn't have intercepted that pass. Do you share that same opinion?
Well, because it's fourth down, I think it's your instinct is to pick it off. He didn't show a whole lot of elusiveness after he got it. He'll probably get teased about that. But no, I'd rather him pick it off and then should I just bat it down and not take the ball. But I think in that situation, if you know you're going to get tackled right away, yeah, just bat it down. But I think your instincts are, hey, that's the ball's thrown, let me go get the ball. So.
You guys on the team from Florida, and obviously Florida's under siege from this hurricane. Have you talked to any of those guys, or have any of them talked to you about, communicating with their families?
No, I know they have been, and I know it's been a hot topic, obviously, for the last several days. We know a lot of guys. Our staff, we all know a lot of people, and have relatives that. I lived in Florida for a little bit too, so it's what it's like when something like that hits it. But for as far as I know, again, as far as I know, with our guys that are from there, have people there, that everybody's safe. But it is certainly a mess, and it's this time of season, and there might be another one coming, I guess, right behind it. So it's affecting college football, and is obviously affected the folks in Houston, but all up and down the East Coast too. So it's going to be. We're very fortunate here in Arizona. We don't have a lot of natural disasters, right? I mean, we have monsoons, but really they're just thunderstorms. You know, when I first got here, I thought monsoons, you'd see like farm animals floating down the street or something. Like, you know, but it's, you know, we have thunderstorms in August, and, you know, lightning goes sideways a little bit, whatever, but it's not a true natural disaster like folks are dealing with now.
Anything more for Coach? Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach.